Hey everyone, I'm Caroline Rena from the Ride of My Life podcast, and today's been an interesting day because I'm going to start out with the fact that I've been talking about grief. It's not an easy subject to talk about, and it's something that we all are going to experience at least one time in our life, whether it's from death or loss or things desired that we may never see again, whatever that is, and that happens even more around this time of year for many people. I personally am grateful for the opportunity for grief healing. What's interesting about today is that I had posted a picture, and said that I was grateful for this 4 years ago on December 16th, 2018. And what I want to tell you is that I started a couple of weeks ago in this grief process and walking through like this deep, deep grief around different relationships, around different things that have occurred in my life. And I have to say for myself, it's definitely challenging. It's not an easy thing to work through at all. And it can be very painful and fearful for me in dealing with the unknowns, what's to come, accepting what may not come, and just following this grief journey wherever it leads. And the other interesting piece is that 2 years ago, I received this message. I usually say that it was like a download, I call it, from the universe telling me that I will be working with grief. And I'm like resisting. That's a resistance for me. So anyway, my desire here is to tell you though that even though grief is very challenging, it is also powerful and it's essential. And these couple of weeks of grieving has taken me even deeper into the truth about myself and into love, into loving myself, into cherishing myself and giving myself the opportunity to do this. And so what's interesting to me is that it's surfacing now. And it's been following the work of grieving is surfacing now, and it's also kind of taking me on this other journey of walking into helping other people. And this is scary for me. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is something like I said, I've resisted for 2 years, and by me walking through my grief in the last couple of weeks, it's giving me the opportunity to know and feel it even more powerfully because I'm in a different space than I was, obviously, 4 years ago, 2 years ago when I got the message, and having dug deep into this healing journey from trauma that I've done. And so it's crazy how things work in cycles. And I've talked about this before, but cycles happen in nature. Cycles happen with ourselves. I mean, even a menstrual cycle is a cycle, so it's meant to happen that way. It's meant to come, it's meant to go, it's meant to come back, it's meant to leave again, and until we start to move with that flow, literally. You don't have to be a woman to understand that. You move, you flow with this. And what I want to share with you is that I know what I'm doing, and at the same time, I still feel like a fraud sometimes because putting this information together, although I'm living through it, I've lived through it, I've researched it, it's really quite demanding to my resistant self. And that's what I get to walk through. That's why I get to heal the grief, because my resistant self has always been like, you're not good enough. You can't do this stuff for people. You can't even do it for yourself. That's the ego talking. It's like, who do you think you are to ? I mean, how many people have heard that before within themselves and from other people talking about it? And so, what I'm learning to do is just sit with this grief and allow it and accept it and it's helping me to move forward through this resistance. And it's releasing the person I no longer am, and it's moving me into someone and a life that is very different. I don't obviously know what that looks like yet, but I know that's what's happening. And so I wanted to share really what, 4 years ago, my life changed after I went through this similar process, but not as deep. And it recreated and reorganized my life in 2019. And by this happening again, I am starting to see this pattern. I'm starting to see this cycle, every year. And generally, I've noticed that this happens around this time. And just like I have things that happen in October every year that move me forward, or things that happen in March every year that move me forward. So that's why I talk about cycles, because it's something that brings us into a higher vibration, a new level of understanding ourselves, of seeing the truth about ourselves, of learning how to love ourselves, of learning how to empower ourselves. And what I can definitely say is this certainly doesn't happen overnight. So it doesn't take that long to process the grief. And it may feel, if you're new to this, it may feel really, really hard or really challenging. And sometimes we may not feel supported. I've been there too, and it's okay to ask someone to hold your space. And I say this over and over again. When you are supporting someone, don't talk to them while they're grieving, because they need to walk through the grief and they need to do it in their own way. And if it affects you, that's okay too. If you don't talk, you can actually feel and heal your own grief too. And it's such an incredible process to do that with somebody, so they can witness you, you can witness them, you can feel empathy for somebody and love, and you can understand and learn what life is, because life is nothing without grief, and grief only comes from love. So it's very interconnected. And so I don't want you to think it's a challenging thing. I want you to know that it's a powerful thing. And so what I'd like to say now is just, because of my process, I've started my meetup group called The Right to Heal, Journaling Your Way Through Grief. I'd love to see you over there. I'm working on virtual meetings and in-person meetings if you're in South Florida. And I really want to help people walk through this process. And so just join me in a healing partnership. It's not easy, and it's absolutely worth moving forward in your life and releasing things that don't serve you anymore. So thank you so much for being here and listening. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to be doing this, the healing for myself, the sharing, and the connecting. All right. Have a great day.